What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Crunchy Take podcast. I sort of screwed up in briefing Eric about what I really wanted to talk about. What we initially wanted to do was do a kind of MMA talk conversation about what had happened between Tyron Woodley and Colby Covington, and then talk about Israel Adesanya and Paulo Costa. But it didn't end up going that way, just because he got my message last week about wanting to talk about movies. So I told him to pick 3 movies that were most influential / impactful for him, and I chose the same thing. And somehow we got our agendas and picks screwed up for this week, so we went with the movie talk instead. What you're about to hear is the latter half of our conversation after we went through a very hastily put together MMA portion. And in my opinion, the movie talk was a lot more enriching, a lot more engaging, rather than the forced MMA talk. So I hope you enjoy what is episode 20 of the Crunchy Take podcast. It's been an absolute blast doing these episodes. No matter how many listeners I have, it's been a really fun experience, and I intend to keep doing so. So thanks for listening so far, and enjoy the podcast. This is gonna go. It'll be snake kind of format. So from 6 to 1, each of us gets 3 takes. Eric, do you want to go
I think we
first?
should take turns though, like on each take.
Exactly. Eric, do you want to go first?
Sure. Okay, so so we each get 3. So under this category, I wanted to
Category.
it's like it's movies that kind of, they're relatable. They kind of tap into your feelings and kind of recognize your, insecurities. We all have insecurities,
Mm-hmm.
and there's certain movies that kind of spotlight it
Mm-hmm.
and and bring it out. And a few movies that come to mind. There's a movie that came out in the 90s. It's called Angus. I'm sure you haven't seen that, and it's okay because no one else has seen it either. But Angus was a movie about some kind of this chubby kid that didn't fit in, and
I need to watch it now.
yeah, he was somehow put into the like homecoming. He was like homecoming king or whatnot, but it was all a prank.
Sounds like Carrie.
And maybe, yeah.
Sounds like the
But
rehash.
it's one of those movies about like a kid that just didn't fit in.
when they dump blood on him.
Yeah, close.
Whoa, that is
that.
a total rehash of Carrie.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay,
Yeah.
but that's not your. Okay, keep going. I'm sorry. Keep going.
I'm just naming movies that like are under this category. Like Good Will Hunting is one of those. Like some guy that's brilliant. I'm not saying I'm brilliant, but some guy that's this brilliant, but like doesn't put his foot on the pedal to like figure out his life and move on and whatnot.
Yeah.
There's a movie called Always Be My Maybe. I think that was a Netflix exclusive. They came out a year ago.
Sounds
Have
like
you
a
seen
Mariah
that?
Carey
Always
song.
Be My Maybe.
No, but that
It's
sounds like a Mariah
it's some
Carey
Asian
song,
dude
for sure.
and some Asian comedian. Dang it! I wish I would have known her name. But my pick for this one is called a movie called Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
You quote this one very often. No, but you quote
Yeah.
this one very often. Interesting.
Eternal Sunshine
Ooh,
of
Eric.
the Spotless Mind.
Go. Shoot
That movie
away.
came out. I don't know when it came out, but it's Jim Carrey and
Yes.
Kate Winslet.
Yes.
This movie came out. It was a low budget movie,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but of all people, Uncle Ah, he was like, "Dude, you need to watch this movie." And I'm like, all right, because it's a low budget movie, and the director is like, that's why big names like Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet were like, "Dude, we want to,
Mhm.
work for this guy or do this movie."
Yeah.
You haven't seen it or no?
No, but I absolutely need to. I know exactly what you're talking about. This is the one you've quoted this one several times. Where in like, oh, if we met in a cafe in like a faraway land, like you,
Yeah,
we'd maybe work.
we
with
could start
that.
all over.
Yeah, we could start all over. Like this
yeah.
movie, I think resonates with you deeply.
Yeah,
in many
This-
different respects.
this movie shows all the steps and all the layers of being in a relationship, and like the honeymoon phase, like when you're happy all the time, and when it gets to when it gets tough,
Mm-hmm.
to like your insecurities and like what you're like what you're worried about and whatnot, and to breaking up, to like finding each other again. It's you got to see it. In the movie, there's a memory loss. Like they hire a doctor to lose their memory about their significant other or their past significant other.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
No, man, that's man. I did not expect you to go to those lengths to like explain.
No, I mean, there's got to be movies. Oh Lord, here they go again.
Mm-hmm.
You need to. There's got to be movies that like um like pick at your like I said, your insecurities, your feelings, you know, and that's the one. Very accurate.
Wow. Whoa, man! Like you took me on a journey right there. The whole because this is obviously an area of shall we say experience no matter what, that like, you've had, like, and the fact that it resonates with you that deeply.
There's levels to a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's levels to a relationship.
There's levels to it. There's levels to a relationship.
Layers of depth. Yeah.
There's a honeymoon phase. There's coasting. There's a point where you're like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Like, am I even happy anymore? There's breaking up. And then there's doubt of why did we break up? We should try to get back together, you know?
Yeah. All right. You've kind of
I'm saying those are the steps of a relationship, like on my part. Mm-hmm. But this movie definitely like brought it out. It made you think about it.
Man, it gets both the Eric and Uncle Oz seal of approval. Now that says a lot. No, you two have
this movie. I saw it in theaters. I saw this movie in theaters. Uncle A, I don't know.
What year?
This is back when we lived together, and he was like, "You should watch this movie," and I'm like, "All right."
What's the year it came out? You know? You remember?
I don't know what year it came out.
Do you remember where?
If I were to guess, I don't know, 2008. I don't know.
Okay, so you weren't. This is old. This is like 12 years ago, or whatnot. Like, okay.
Yeah, this is old. Yeah.
All right. Interesting.
All right, James, what do you got?
Well, funny you mentioned 2008, because that's the year my movie came out as well. You've heard me talk about this movie many times. It might. I hasten to call it my favorite just because I call a lot of things my favorite, but I definitely think it's the most. As far as the cinematic experience goes, for me, it's the most impactful movie that I've ever seen in theaters, and that is The Dark Knight.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew. Well, I can't say more than what has already been said about it. It's the first movie that, because up until that point, me and my dad, we'd been seeing. We it's a tradition. Father-son movie. Father-son is theater time. That's like
yes.
Or the theater is a sacred place where me and my dad go. It's
yes.
Great pastime. The Dark Knight, to give some preface, like I saw Batman Begins with Uncle Bep.
Yeah.
This is when.
By the way, it was a great movie too. Yeah.
Yeah, great. I think the superior Batman film, by the way, of all three films. I had an argument with a friend at at church the other day. This guy's like, "How do you think The Dark Knight Rises is not a good movie?" Well, like I think it's bad? No. But do I think it's on the class of these other two? No.
Yeah.
And it's just the way the cookie crumbles. Well, context, Uncle Bep took me to watch Batman Begins in 2005-ish. That's right around the year, then summer that Revenge of the Sith came out, right? Yeah. In context to that, I know how you feel. But the thing was, I was a kid at the time. All I wanted to do was watch Star Wars again. I collected lightsabers. I got the figurines. Like, freak, I just want to see Star Wars again. Uncle Pep took one look at me and said, "You've already seen that. Let's go see Batman." I was like, "Oh, fine." So I go with him. I go in with him. We go see it, and I come out the movie theater like I was scared. That movie's terrifying. It's as a kid, it's kind of like, do I really want to see this again? Like,
yeah.
But a year later, I bought the VCD and I watched it again. Shit, it's pretty addicting.
I'm sorry, James. For your listeners that have no idea what a VCD is, James,
what is a VCD? What is a VCD? A VCD is this is a relic of a time long gone, a relic of the past, wherein to watch a movie, you have to take it's like with old video games, with games that are so big that you have to have several discs to watch. It's the same idea. So at some point throughout the movie, you're gonna have to press the eject button on. You have to get up from your TV. You gotta go to your DVD player. You gotta press the eject button and then put disc 2 in there. Oh, and that's not counting the trailers, the unskippable trailers and previews that they put in at the beginning of said VCD. Okay, so this is blasted to 2006. And so
that was our side mission.
Side mission right there. Side mission complete. Put CD in, watch. Oh, and if the VCD is broke, it's a cheap VCD. Guess what? Scenes are gonna click, 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 click. Rachel Dawes is still sitting in the car, and the car never moves. Yeah, that's the mid 2000s for you folks. No streaming services then.
Cool.
So yeah, watch that movie. It's fun. Batman Begins. It's Batman, but it's the most awesome form of Batman that I'd seen up until that point. Because at that point,
yes.
The Tim Burton movies, cool, but left something to be desired. If you didn't read the comic books, or if you weren't a comic book reader like I wasn't, I was a kid. I didn't read The Killing Joke. I didn't know jack about Batman, but okay. So all that aside, 2 years later, Iron Man comes out. Cool, right? So I go see Iron Man with my friends. I thought, wow, that was a pretty good movie. We're walking out of the theater. Out of the corner of my eye, I see like a little kind of trailer for The Dark Knight. And I see a snapshot of the Joker. Just like, it's a trailer. I can't even hear what's going on. Because, in a Time mall, in a Time movie theater, there's like a bunch of noise going around, bunch of promotions, noise or whatnot. I just see him on a screen. You know how Thai movie theaters work. Like you see, the way they promote movies is excellent. You go to a movie theater, it's like each movie has its own screen, and you can see the trailer there. There's this huge poster for it. Well, The Dark Knight had a trailer.
Oh yeah, Thailand does it right. Yeah,
Thailand does it. They amp it up so well. It's commercialism at its finest. And when I say commercialism, 30 to 40 minutes of commercials before the movie starts, but it's worth it.
Love it, dude.
So the Dark Knight trailer was actually playing on the Iron Man kind of promo poster / area that they had. All I saw
where this is going.
All I saw was Joker's face, and I tell you, I did not want to watch that movie. I was like, that does not sound like something. Like it looks like it's gonna be a thriller. This is gonna be a scary movie because I was a whip, freaking 12. I didn't want to see it. Few months go by, the movie actually comes out. My dad said, "Wow, let's go watch a movie, son." I'm like, "Oh, at that time, angsty teenager. Fine.
Yeah,
let's go watch Batman." I was like, "I don't know about this movie, Dad. It's kind of scary."
This is after you saw Batman Begins.
Yes, this is 08.
Okay.
After I saw Batman Begins. My dad, in the politest way he could, I think in the politest, most fatherly, loving Rayong way that he could, not to bastardize his name out, but he was basically like, "Don't be a pussy, son. Just come watch the movie with me."
Oh Lord. Okay.
So I went in, and from the first frame, I was on the edge of my seat. But in a
literally
good way.
First frame, yeah.
First frame and this is me, young. Like I hadn't seen a trailer for it. I hadn't, because at the time, the internet, I didn't really delve. I was a normal kid. YouTube, I didn't watch YouTube. It was like when you went to see a movie, the only trailers you saw for it were in theaters. Yeah.
And
so having only seen the snapshot of the Joker from the Iron Man promos. And when he finally takes off his mask to reveal himself after that heist scene, I'm like, "Oh, this is a different kind of movie. Yeah. This is a different kind of movie right here." And not to say that different, there have been other movies, you could say superior movies where, like, when you had like Psychos, but this was just a different class of movie. It's like the Joker said, "This city deserves a better class of criminal, and I'm going to give it to them." I felt like Christopher Nolan in many ways was saying this industry deserves a better class of hero movie. Because in all respects, I'll let you go off on The Dark Knight because I know you have things to say, but it was such an interesting character study now that I look at it. But man, the impact that movie had, just sitting on the edge of my seat. My dad, it's the only movie, by the way, my dad hasn't slept in. He's found ways
What
to
do you mean?
sleep.
Oh.
He's found ways to sleep
Yeah.
in Star Wars, which I don't blame him for
He
now.
doesn't-
He finds ways to
He
sleep
doesn't-
in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
All these exciting movies. Rayon Kidful. The Dark Knight. I've never seen that reaction from him since.
Let's give him some credit because he does not fall asleep in during Warriors games.
Oh.
So, yeah.
The only time he'll fall asleep is if the Warriors are already up. And
Can you imagine the biggest Warriors fan in the world is in Thailand?
Yep. So yeah, that's my whole story kind of surrounding The Dark Knight, just the context that it went in with, just for the fact that for me, I got to experience it as a kid. Just, dude, the Joker was my Darth Vader. You know, for me, it was what Darth Vader was to to our uncles, you know, basically.
Yes. God, it's a great movie, yeah.
Yeah. But what kind of impact did it have on you? Because I know, like, as a kid, like, you have a certain lens, but for you, like, how did your theater
when
react to it?
I went to some movie, I don't know, I think it was one of the Mission Impossible movies. I think it was like Mission Impossible 3 or something.
Oh, that was a good
But
movie.
if you, it was something so random where, like, if you see this movie in IMAX, where around here, you only get IMAX.
You'll get the trailer.
In what is it? In San Francisco at the Metreon.
Metreon, yeah.
Yeah, you get a trailer. It wasn't even a trailer. They showed the whole scene of when they had. Oh wait, hold on, different movie. The one where Bane takes over that.
Oh,
thing.
that's the third one.
Never mind.
Still cool story. No, I know what you're talking about. I know. Yeah.
I didn't see, like, looking back, I never saw any trailers where it showed the Joker. I only saw some like there was one picture, like a still, of Heath Ledger as a Joker. Mm-hmm. And the best part about this movie is that, like, when it was announced that Heath Ledger was the Joker, nobody took that seriously. Everybody clowned on it.
Yeah,
even me. I'm like, Heath Ledger? Are you kidding me? The guy that played, in 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yeah,
that guy.
A Knight's Tale.
That movie was that was a perfect movie.
The Dark Knight was a perfect movie.
I mean, to me, James, maybe not to you.
Well, you know what? To me, it was the perfect kid movie to kind of take me out of, like, one. I think it's the one movie for me where I can claim that, cinematically I saw it, and it changed the way I saw movies, because it was the only movie. Go ahead. Something what?
Something about, look, dude, I'm not very educated in movie, like talking about movies or movie etiquette or whatnot, but something about Christopher Nolan with his music, like the music that he plays, that high bass, long, elongated kind of thing. That's what makes the movie so much better. That movie was perfect to me, but yeah, good pick though.
Yeah, soundtrack of I feel like The Dark Knight and Batman Begins just have the strongest soundtrack of the Rises was still, was it a bad film? No, but man, The Dark Knight The Dark Knight was just the way that I guess the one biggest weakness of The Dark Knight is that it's a Batman movie. Which is wild to say.
But you can't,
because this is a movie, with a character like the Joker. I heard this take from a critic named Rob Ager, and I kind of agree. Now, if Batman was the catalyst for me to go and watch this movie, the Joker is like this. The Joker was kind of this thing that made me think, so there are better movies out there that I have to check out that kind of lead up to this. Because, you could, a character like the Joker, you think A Clockwork Orange, you think American Psycho, you think, the original Psycho, all these different kind of movies come to work. And it's kind of like this gateway movie wherein people, if you watch it for the first time, you can't walk away from that saying, you can dislike it. Obviously a lot of people also dislike it. But for me,
wait, dislike what?
The Dark Knight. Yeah, it's possible. This is one of those movies. A mark of a great movie is that you either really like it or you're indifferent towards it. That's to me. I haven't found anybody that hates it, and if they hate it, it's because it's too scary for them. Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, there were points in this movie I thought, man, that this should have really been rated R. I feel like the rated PG-13 rating was holding
The
Nolan
psychological
back.
part of it, yeah, rated R.
Yeah.
But as far as like the gore and whatnot,
No.
PG-13.
And I feel like that's harder to do PG-13 like this, because the one moment where I felt like, oh man, like this is some interesting imagery for a PG-13 movie, is when the mayor and Gordon are talking in their office, and then out of nowhere you see Batman, like Batman's doppelganger, slam into his window hooded, like freaking with a noose around his neck, like, oh, this is that kind of movie. And then you see the footage of the Joker interrogating the guy, just having fun with his camera. The Joker. Dude, it's interesting you mentioned the commercials, because they didn't, although they showed him, they really didn't show. They his voice and his laugh. And the first time you hear that laugh in the trailer, I'd imagine people at the time were like, wow, what is happening?
Yeah. What's crazy is like you bring up this movie, it's in a lot of people, like if you say a top 5, it's probably in a lot of people's top 5 movies of all time.
For sure.
The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
The movie was, I mean, like I said, it's a perfect movie, but yeah.
It is a perfect movie in a sense that now, like, I wouldn't even say that, but now it's so impactful that now every actor portraying a certain kind of character is always going to be compared to Heath Ledger now. Like, always, it's just never as good. And the guy won an Oscar. As good as Joaquin Phoenix was, I still think Heath was that level, and not because Joaquin was a bad actor. I just think that Joker was more intelligent. He was more thought of. He was better written, better conceptualized. And Heath, he had the role of a lifetime. So to me, it was also a real shocker. Like, I go back and read, I have the next movie this guy is gonna be, and I'm gonna see it. Lo and behold, I go back home, I find out he's dead. He'd been dead. Somehow it eluded me, the fact that he had passed away months before the movie had even come out. For me, it's like, and at that time, news in Thailand was, well, at least to me, I caught it slow. So that had a big impact on me too. Just like, oh man, like, I am so afraid of this character watching it. We're so enamored by it. Yet at the same time, it's a posthumous kind of. This is what we're seeing, a dead man, essentially, which has never really happened in cinema. Well, it has. He was in other movies as well. He was in I'm Not There. But a movie of that magnitude, and for that actor to not be around anymore, it's kind of like if Kobe had just won the championship and you were on some kind of weird time delay and you saw them win the championship and you found out he was dead. That to me, that was kind of the framing around that movie. But yeah, long-winded way to say Dark Knight. We could talk about that movie for a long time. Just there are hour-long character breakdowns of each character, and to me, it's worth noting. Everyone talks about the Joker. Joker in that movie, but the role that gets overshadowed in that movie is Aaron Eckhart's Two-Face. Now, is it the best Two-Face ever? No, but what it is, I think it's even more of a manifestation of the Joker. The fact that I found at a certain point watching now, you could honestly find Harvey Two-Face, Aaron Eckhart, a little scarier. Just because he was the final kind of blow. And that whole last scene, I'm not going to spoil it, obviously, if you haven't seen it at this point.
Spoil what?
Exactly. Yeah, if you haven't seen, but that whole last scene,
years ago, dude. Just spoil it, dude. It came out years ago.
That last scene by now sticks with you so bad that a man has fallen. Because I don't think, obviously, there have been comic books in the past, and there have been comic books portraying that specific image, but no such superhero movie, definitely no big blockbuster, really has come that close to portraying that level of human depravity, wherein you're willing to take a kid's life based on the premise of a coin toss. Like, they really think about that for a second. Nolan took that and he illustrated that in the most kind of bare bones kind of knuckles, where my family died, I will end your family. And if it hadn't been for this guy here, you guys might be screwed, And so that kind of got to me as a kid. Like, then I had to take a break from it. I kept quoting the movie. My sister got really annoyed. Yeah. But yeah.
James, your whole rant is the whole reason why I told you like you are more like seasoned for this kind of a thing than I am.
That's not fair, because this movie I've been thinking about for 12 years now. You know, it's just the way it is. All right, that's my number 3. That's number 5. Eric, it's your turn again.
My turn. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, well, we went to church.
No,
there.
that was great. First of all, that movie's great. So
we'll go back to the movies.
So under that category of like that standard award-winning nominated movie that everyone universally likes,
Mm-hmm.
it was tough because I had picks between like Dark Knight, of course, Dark Knight. Those movies like Inception. Remember Inception?
Yeah.
And the whole thing, like there is a theme with this with Christopher Nolan. You've seen Forrest Gump, I'm sure.
Yes.
You've seen Gladiator, I'm sure, right?
Yes.
Those movies, like these are all the movies I just named are those kind of movies where
big blockbusters.
If for whatever reason I'm in a hotel and there's movies on the TV,
you might watch
no matter where it starts, I'm gonna watch the whole thing.
Even with commercials, you might to fall asleep. You might leave it on. You might doze off, but you'll leave it on. You know. Yeah. I see what you mean.
If Dark Knight, Inception, Forrest Gump, or Gladiator's on, I'm watching all of it. I don't care. I'll watch it when I'm getting ready or whatnot.
Okay.
Those movies were at their time, but my pick for let's say what number 3?
Yeah. No, you're going into your number 2.
Number 4. Let's say number 4.
Yeah.
Number 4. It's my number 2. I don't know how you called this, dude. You did, but for whatever. Yeah, I don't know how you knew this, but my number 2 is Interstellar.
Oh man, I really didn't think you were gonna go there. Eric, we watched this in a movie theater that was too small for its own good. Right?
And the reason why, like, it just like if not that movie, you know, I would have chosen, it would have been tough between Dark Knight or Inception.
Sure.
You know, obviously I love Christopher Nolan movies. But for whatever reason, Interstellar like took that leap was because recently we had an issue with fires, you know? And I know it has nothing to do with like what's going on, but like I remember walking out of my room in the morning and I'm just seeing ash fall down from the fires and whatnot. And I know that's not from global warming and maybe it is, but
yeah,
I was like what is this? I don't know. It kind of reminded me of in the movie when they're like scraping things off their table and whatnot. And dude, Interstellar is an amazing movie. And the reason why I love that movie so much, and you probably know this, or maybe you don't, maybe I'm just admitting this to you now, is because I have no idea what is going on in that movie. To this day, I have no idea. Every time I've watched this movie so many times, and I love this movie, but every time I'm like, so what does that mean? Like, You're not
alone, dude. You're not alone.
I'm not, no, maybe I am, dude. Because remember, like, how old were you when this movie came out, James?
Let me search it up. Interstellar. I might have been. I was in college.
How old were you when this movie came out?
I was in college for sure. Interstellar was 2014. So this would have been my sophomore year in college. So
what? You're what? 20?
19.
20. Okay, cool.
Yeah. 20 was 2015.
I remember we were I was driving you, like we were driving somewhere. We're in downtown Berkeley. We're talking about Interstellar, and you were explaining it to me.
Yeah.
And then I had no idea what the hell you were talking about, but still, I was just like, okay, that's cool. To this day, I have no idea what that movie is about.
Eric, then what do you think it's about? Then why do you think it has such a big impact on you? I mean, you mentioned
the whole like fourth dimension. Like, dude, I don't know. All I know is like however they came out of it, it makes sense. I just don't understand why it doesn't make sense.
Well, let's go back a little bit to what you were talking about, the fires. Where I can kind of see the correlation. You know, the pictures you guys sent, it looked like California was going to hell. But like, how does that correlate to Interstellar? Why?
Because of not so much the fires, just because of like walking outside and seeing like ash and seeing things like fall down, and I'm thinking
Sure.
like, damn, we have no crops except for maybe corn.
Oh,
I don't know, dude. But that's one
okay.
of those movies where I know that someday, if things are the way they are now, continue on, it's going to be that way. You know.
Mm,
Also, I'm not very smart as far as like world climate or whatnot,
yeah.
but I know I saw this movie and
Oh,
I've
come on, man.
experienced it.
You're at least intelligent enough to grasp what's going on. No, with that movie, with Interstellar, I again, this is a movie I've had arguments with other people over. I don't it's a very the first two acts of this movie are very solid
Yeah,
to me, like very emotionally gripping.
yeah,
The third act is where it kind of falls off, and that's where it goes off the deep end. I think that's that gray area in your head where, you know,
yeah. But
you got
but that's
Matthew
also things that you
McConaughey
notice
going
that I
into a
don't.
black hole. Yeah, but these are minor details, but still they're important details. To me, the more interesting, the people often with this movie, the easy I think observation to make is, the whole connection with the father and the daughter, just like breaking through space and time. Love is like kind of that big. And that was kind of to
Yeah,
me what made the movie somewhat weaker is the fact that a lot of it was explained and not really shown, and like the whole because you have these huge lumbering concepts juggled with huge kind of set piece visuals, which by the way, the movie doesn't have a green screen in it. They did pretty much all of it practically, rotoscoping in
okay.
some yeah. This
That's news to
movie
me.
this movie is amazing in terms of technical aspects. Christopher Nolan does everything. He will, if you are a set designer, if you are a practical visual effects guy, he will make your life both living hell, but he will make sure that you stay employed. I have not seen the newest one yet. I haven't seen Tenet. I want to. I'm probably gonna see it this Sunday. But no, my short blurb about Interstellar is it's easy to take the daughter and the father as like the most emotionally tethering kind of connection. But to me, what was more heartbreaking was the son and his falling out with the dad. Because the way you talk about, not understanding movie, to me, I kind of see myself as the son. I'm not that smart. I'm not a neuroscientist. I'm not if the world were to go to kaput today, I would rely on my physical attributes to get by, which isn't much to speak of, But with him in the movie, I don't know if you remember, but he was told from his father that his scores weren't high enough, and the son was content to be a farmer for the rest, of
Yeah,
his life. Where it was likely that his sister was gonna get the glory. She was gonna get this chance to maybe save humanity, like astrophysics kind of program, all that. To me, it was heartbreaking to see the son lose it. Like, obviously, the first time through, you're paying attention really to the daughter, but if you really take a step back, the son's relationship with the father is like that's the more heartbreaking thing, you know,
okay.
because the son realizes that you could kind of look at the movie and the next time you watch it, pay close attention to the son's kind of reaction of his dad going off into space. It's one of like mannish understanding. It's older brother. You kind of have to play that tough part. Wherein I don't know if he knows the fact that he's never gonna come back. There's that little inkling in his eyes, like, okay, I know you have a job, and if I never see you again, I never see you again, and he never sees him again. You know, um,
Yeah.
that to me is so heartbreaking in many respects. And the other part is you never hear McConaughey's character call out the son's name. You hear him call Murph's name a lot, which is the daughter. Like he banging in.
Yeah.
If he's looking in.
But Murph's the one that's like interested about like the
Right.
placement of the books or the dusting or whatever.
Right. But to me, like the son's disconnect with the whole thing and the way he reacts to how Jessica Chastain's character, the older Murph, right? Which by the way, the young Murph played by a freaking shoot, I forget the kid's name, but she was great.
Oh yeah.
Oh, she kind of was the emotional tether that the movie needed, because
Yes, she was. Yes.
because Christopher Nolan, I feel like had this movie been directed by Spielberg, it might have the emotional aspect of it might have come out even more so. Whereas Nolan, he's all kind of about kind of intriguing your mind, playing with your mind. Mackenzie Foy, yeah, God, like she was really the emotional tether, and I think in Interstellar, the part that I think everyone reacted strongly to the most was that kind of montage. You know, they make it out of that water planet with the freaking giant mountain high tsunami, and McConaughey is watching his kids grow up. In what appeared to be just an hour of his life, he went from, 2 years, he went from watching his kids go from innocent to old, both have a disdain for him, have a deep, dark disdain from him for not coming back, because that to me was the shining part of the movie. And do you remember Matt Damon was in the movie as well? You forget?
It was a nice little cameo.
When that happened, I was, another thing, sorry, I know I'm taking your spot, but freaking Interstellar.
No, dude.
I think my favorite character from that movie might be the robot, freaking TARS, whatnot.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just really witty comedy, and the movie paid a lot of tribute to freaking 2001: Space Odyssey, wherein I thought the AI was gonna, I thought Nolan was gonna kind of do his own spin on 2001, but yeah.
Dude, the whole thing about this movie is like I understand like the whole what they're trying to do, but I don't understand like the mathematics and whatnot. That's why I love this movie so much. I don't either. I would still watch it. Yeah.
I don't either. That's what blew me away watching it in theater, is just watching.
Dude, do you remember like the reason why I brought up like when we were in Berkeley and I was driving and I parked? I remember this one time I asked you about it.
Yeah.
But you explained it to me, and I still don't understand.
Well, basically. Well, here, I'll explain it to you again. Hopefully you might get it better this time. The movie basically takes time. Time to them is basically the people that have made those mechanisms possible. These are fifth dimensional beings, which means they can take time, bend it, and they can go through it. That's that's the basic wormhole theory. I failed a lot of math in in high school.
Yeah, me too. But yeah.
The concept basically is Christopher Nolan is taking science fiction and a bit of reality and just going the distance enough to make people like, so that's how it would happen if we time traveled. So that's what we would look like. That's the capability we'd have if we were fifth dimensional beings, or like if we had kind of the whole human evolution cycle, but.
Okay.
That's a slippery slope for me. That's a lot really to break down. Interstellar, it's a complicated movie. Like I said, the first two acts were brilliant. And then the third one was just kind of, it should have ended was a little quicker, but good movie. Yeah. I'd see it again.
But like I said, dude, like the whole reason why, like I could have chosen Inception or Dark Knight, actually, or Forrest Gump or Gladiator. I could have chosen any of them, but
right.
Interstellar was that movie. I was so intrigued, but I had no idea what the hell was going on.
That's fair.
And I still want to learn,
That's fair.
So that's my that's that.
Okay.
Ready to move on, James?
Sure. It's funny you mentioned Interstellar, because a movie that did something similar to me. No long-winded introduction. The original Blade Runner, starring Harrison Ford, directed by Ridley Scott. Blade Runner. Yeah. Have you ever seen it?
I did when I was a kid. I don't remember it, but yeah. Blade Runner. Blade Runner, Harrison Ford, right?
Yes. Did you see the new one? Blade Runner 2049, directed by Denis Villeneuve. No, yes, no.
I have not.
You had a reaction when I told you about it.
No, I was saying, unfortunately, no, I've not. With Ryan Gosling?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, okay, so the original Blade Runner, man, it's interesting how our picks kind of mirror each other. Blade Runner did a lot of. It's a very deep film, obviously, but it's a film. It's film noir, under the disguise of sci-fi. So basically, what has happened in Blade Runner is to sell you maybe on the movie, and if you're gonna watch it again, I highly recommend it.
Okay.
Blade Runner, the reason I put it as my number 2, it's the movie that's made me think most about, like, hey man, if there really was a God, like, why did he make us this way? And that movie kind of gets at that, because the whole premise of the movie is there are these robots called replicants, which are basically humans, made by humans to do things for them, to fight their wars, to have sex, to do these, but they look like us. But the catch is with them, the humans have programmed these replicants to die at a certain time frame, right? So as not to like go beyond their programming years, so that once they complete their purpose, that's it, And so the Blade Runner, who is played by Harrison Ford, the Blade Runner's duty is to go around and kill said individuals. Okay, and so the whole premise of the movie is Harrison Ford, Deckard, is going around ending the life cycles. And the company that owns these replicants, they call it a retirement process. It's not an execution. Okay, so the whole movie, that right there is like a whole implication of what does death really mean and stuff like that. But yeah, Deckard, his duty is to go around ending the life cycles of these replicants. And so the movie's premise is these these replicants that were built for warfare, have escaped. And so he's got to go hunt them down. He's got to go kill them. And that whole movie is just kind of them going to their creator and like, hey, or them going to different outlets trying to expand their life force, by whatever means possible, And this is set in a dystopian kind of future in LA where all nations have collapsed into one. It's a very gritty, nitty kind of sci-fi city. Yeah, without getting too philosophical, Blade Runner, just the fact that it's from the 80s both terrifies and awes me. It's the same effect I have if you've seen the original Alien.
Okay.
Have you ever seen the original Alien?
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, yeah.
Can you believe that movie's from the 70s?
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I can't. I look at a movie like Blade Runner, it's just like, how the hell was this made in the 80s? How a movie like this that was so atmospheric. One, the soundtrack by freaking it's the same guy who did the Gladiator soundtrack.
Hans Zimmer?
No. No. I'm sorry.
John Williams.
No.
There's only two, dude. There's Hans Zimmer and John Williams.
Blade Runner. I can't believe I'm blanking on the name. A Blade Runner Blues. It's probably my single favorite movie piece of all time. I'm gonna send you it after this. I want you to listen to it.
Is that available on maybe like Netflix or
Blade Runner?
Hulu? Can I watch it somehow?
It's probably on Amazon. You could rent it for like a little bit. Vagueless. Yeah, Vagueless, the soundtrack for the original movie. It was just oh, okay. I think another reason I think the movie is so great for me is because me personally, I'm a very hearing sensitive person. And there's something about Blade Runner wherein if you really listen to the movie, it's so like it's so atmospheric. The sound design is the best sound design of any movie I've ever seen. Ever. The soundtrack might be the best soundtrack for a single movie. It might not be my favorite musical soundtrack, but for a movie and what it does for a movie, it's right up there with Inception. It might be the Inception before the Inception.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I'm dead serious. I'll send you my favorite song off the movie, Blade Runner Blues. But yeah, it's so unbelievably atmospheric, so unbelievably deep. It's just like I was not prepared for it. If you look at the poster of Blade Runner, it came out in 1982. And by all intents and purposes, you're looking at a movie that's like Dr. Zed or Judge Dredd. Like, this guy's the Punisher. He's gonna go around killing people. Like, no.
Yeah.
And is Deckard meant to be the hero that he's serving a corporation? Who knows? It's, man, I could gush on and on about this movie, but the fact that you haven't seen it,
yes, you can.
It kind of hurts. No, but yeah, Blade Runner from 1982. That's like I go back and forth in my mind, just thinking that might be the best movie, like a live action movie I've ever seen. Just because it's so. Okay. Oh my god! Like just the levels just the range of emotion you feel. Not when people say that, it's like tragedy, comedy, whatever. But yeesh, it's both deep. It's not an action-packed movie. If you don't pay attention, guess what? There's a possibility you might get bored. I don't think it's for everyone. I do know people that hate this movie, rightfully so, because it's not a movie you can just put on like, hey, let's watch it with the boys. It's not a boys type of movie. It's more like a, hey guys, pay attention kind of movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the sequel, let me just point it out. The sequel that comes out, it came out 3 years ago. Yeah, 2017. Blade Runner 2049, directed by Denis Villeneuve. Also fantastic. Not as good as the first, just because the first did so many things that. The second movie is a lot bleaker, a lot darker, because it falls in the canon of the movie, a digital dark out age. But yeah, very colorful movie, very colorful, moody, gritty type movie, very jazz type movie. Yeah, Blade Runner 1982. That is my number 2 pick. Please go watch it if you have not seen it. A lot to say about it.
Here we go. James says watch it.
Eric, you're number 1.
Number 1?
Yes.
Okay, so the whole subject or reason behind this are like movies that you don't, maybe you're a child, don't think too hard about it. Movies that are good. The ones that didn't make it, the ones that did not make it are movies like Aladdin. I love Aladdin.
Oh, the original was great.
Yeah, Aladdin still holds my favorite line in any movie ever. When Robin Williams, as a genie, he says, no matter what anyone says, you'll always be a prince to me. When he says that to Aladdin. There's that Aladdin, obviously Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast was an amazing movie.
Oh boy. Where you going with this? Interesting.
Have you seen Good Will Hunting?
I should. Yeah. I know I haven't seen it.
It's up there. Have you seen Totoro? My Neighbor Totoro?
Yes.
Okay. Like, I have these like things where it's like, oh, if you're a bad Asian, right? If you're a bad Asian, you cannot make rice. Number 1. Number 2, you can't eat with chopsticks. Number 3 is you have not seen My Neighbor Totoro.
Oh my god.
But you've seen it, right?
Oh my god. Okay, keep going. Yes, I have seen it. Terrific movie.
Yeah. My number 1, or whatever we're on right now, is Toy Story 2.
Damn, Eric.
That's my movie. Toy Story 2.
You got me excited. Okay, Toy Story 2. That is my favorite Toy Story.
Yeah.
Is it my favorite Toy Story? I always go back. 1 or 2. I don't know. 2 is by far your favorite.
Because
right?
1 or 2, if you choose 1 or 2, you're good. You're good.
It's so fun. Movies. Do you know funny story about Toy Story 2, do you know it was almost deleted a few months before it came out?
It was almost what?
Okay. So supposedly Pixar, like they had finishing these movies, they take so many years to make, at least 2 or 3 years, 4 maybe. So they're in months before they're supposed to release the movie, but they had a system crash. And they some guy in the server room or whatnot, I'm very much paraphrasing the story, maybe it's well known at this point. But something happened when some guy went in to fix the code of the movie, the movie started deleting itself. All the work they had put in, gone. Character data, simulation time, whatever, render farms, the whole, all their code started disappearing, so they panicked. And the only reason the movie was saved was because some girl or some woman, some coworker had copied all the data and taken it home with her to work at home. And so had it not been for that girl or that woman or that animator, that movie may not have ever come out.
Really?
So for such a monumental movie in animation history to have hinged upon So somebody backing up the files or whatnot. Maybe
Yeah.
even illegitimately, taking it off animation studio grounds. So Toy Story 2, Eric? Why?
Yeah, because I'm sure you've seen Toy Story, right? Like the first one.
Oh my god, Eric, have I? I've seen it too many times.
Oh Lord, that movie was perfect.
It's the perfect comedy. It's the perfect comedy.
Perfect,
it's the perfect story.
perfect
yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And I saw it, and then I saw Toy Story 2. I was like, how can you like build on a movie that was already perfect
Like that?
And they did it.
Yeah.
Because look, in Toy Story 1, who was the biggest draw? It was Buzz Lightyear.
It was Buzz Lightyear.
That was the guy.
Yep.
He was the guy. That was the toy that you wanted. And then in Toy Story 2, it turned into
Woody.
Like Woody was his collectible character.
Yeah.
Along with Jesse and the fucking and the horse.
Yeah. It's such a journey.
It was so good.
Yeah.
And a whole new set of songs and a whole new set of everything. Like that movie was so good. Toy Story 2.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I looked up the scores for Toy Story.
Newman, yeah.
Toy Story got 100.
Yeah.
100.
Sure.
Toy Story 2, I got 100. How often does a sequel get 100? You know what I'm saying?
Never.
Yeah. That movie was my God. It was because Toy Story 1, I mean, it was great. There was some flaws like
animation
I can pick out.
Yeah.
But whatever, like Toy Story 2 was so much it was the one that like came through. It's like, hey, by the way, like we can still we can keep this rolling. We can still make it 100 also. And that movie was so damn good.
It had no reason. It had no business being as good. Now it's like a sheer miracle. You look at Pixar's track record as of recently, like it wasn't a cash grab. I think that's the thing that you're hitting at, is that this studio that had already made a monumental movie that was the story was great, and at the time, and still is, I think you go back and look at the movie, the animation is incredible. The fact that movie, think about it, dude, the first 3D animated, fully 3D animated movie commercially available is Toy Story. And for your childhood especially, your childhood especially, because you grew up in the 80s, you grew up in the 90s, and it's like for that to be like, whoa. And then Toy Story 2 came out right as you were entering high school, right? Just like your high school years.
Yeah, I mean, dude. But like, God, like Buzz Lightyear was the guy,
Yeah.
Buzz Lightyear was the guy. And in Toy Story 2, like Woody was the guy that this, that fat freaking dude bought Woody and brought him to some guy to like paint him or whatever, or to resurrect him or whatever. Like that's crazy. Like Woody is the guy that's a collectible figure.
Yeah.
And he's worth so much more money.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a cool part of like that storyline in Toy Story 2.
Right, because Buzz in the first movie, the whole crazy kind of emotional roller coaster is when he realizes he's not a space ranger, but it's so emotional. In that first movie, they're in that weird kid's house, and it's just like, it's such a cool dichotomy between Woody and Buzz, them kind of reconciling their differences. Like, you're the cool one.
Yeah.
I'm the one that's strapped to this rocket. Like it's like, oh my God. Oh, Buzz, we missed the truck. We're not aiming for the truck, and it go right. It's a really good feel good movie, but it's also a movie. Both of those movies together say a lot about both identity. Together. Yeah.
But I will choose Toy Story 2 just because that's the movie that scored 100% after they scored 100% already.
Right. Yeah.
That the movie is perfect.
Yeah.
They changed everything, and the rest of the Toy Story movies.
For some reason, Toy Story 2 gets me really amped to go to the airport and go home, like to get on a plane. Because as a kid, like when I watched it, because Woody's on his way to Tokyo, they built that whole anticipation. They take something. I don't know. It's the mark of great movies where they can take an otherwise mundane event and make it exciting. So the climax of Toy Story 2 is them going to the airport to fetch Woody back, right? And Woody's on his way to Tokyo. He's on his way to stardom. He's on an airplane, which as a kid, for me, they really captured the sensory details of, oh, we're in the airport. I'm going to be on an airplane. We're going to fly. Dude, humans fly. That's like, we take that for granted now, but the movie's like, you're going to Tokyo? What? It's them in the compartment of the plane, and then them having that battle in the carousel, in the baggage area where the bags are finding their way to each individual airplane or whatnot slot, right? And just like minor details like that that movies today, if Pixar today would neglect to, not to say they'd neglect to do it, but it just isn't their focus. Because back then, Pixar was all about art. They were creating art that was just, dude, it was a journey. Like Toy Story 2, the movie starts off with this action sequence with freaking Buzz Lightyear, the video game. And it's so funny that,
You're right, yeah.
Buzz gets shot. That's some kind of dark Pixar right there, because that's old Pixar, because, the beginning of the movie, what is this action set piece? And at the end of the action set piece, Buzz gets blown up. You see his torso just kind of fall off. And then freaking Rex is like, no, just like,
yeah.
Rex is losing. And that to me, you can almost take that as like, illusion foreshadowing as to what's going to happen next. Like you're going to get defeated and like, playing the game of life or whatever, and that may be a little too much, but freaking Toy Story 2, that's a solid pick, dude. You had me excited with Totoro for a little bit though. I'm saying
sorry, man.
No, okay. Toy Story 2, kind of question for you is what is the most profound part of it for you? What makes it 100 part of for you?
Okay, first of all, the first movie was all about Buzz Lightyear because he was the guy. Okay. He was the new toy.
Yeah.
And the second movie, and like, how can you make this movie, like, how can you like carry through with this movie and it made balance. It so that Woody was that collectible character.
Yeah.
That guy. That was like
the guy that you're already familiar with. Yeah, the guy that you're already familiar with. You already know how he talks. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's a collectible character.
Mm-hmm.
The one that like this dude's collection or whatever, or any collection.
Yeah.
For Woody's Roundup. Woody's Roundup. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the very best.
Now that I think about it, if those two movies came out like 5 to 6 years ago, basically in our time right now, what you might see happens is, okay, Toy Story 1, brilliant, right? If we change nothing about Toy Story 1, but we moved the time frame where it came out these days, what would happen in Toy Story 2 is they wouldn't make Woody the collectible character. They'd have some other character come in and have it be Woody and Buzz against that other character. That's just a difference in quality and in just kind of intention that I guess Pixar had before, is because they were really trying to search within themselves. And like, interesting point you make. I've probably heard it, but never quite the way you make it sound. It's just like, Buzz was like the cool toy, and you were in part 1, space travel, whatnot. And to go back to this kind of cowboy, the toy that was in Andy's collection for the longest, and arguably probably in his mother's collection too. This is probably an antique. The mother feels a certain way. The mother looks at Woody. She tells Andy to put toys in, but when she sees Woody, even she knows not to sell it. Even she knows, no, like this may be. Yeah, nah, we can't let you have this. Sorry. And she locks it away in an attempt to like, yeah. So that's really special. Interesting.
Okay.
Man, Toy Story 2, Eric. All right. So your top
three. James. I'm sorry, dude.
No.
I put a lot of thought into
Great pick.
Into this, man.
No, great pick. Eternal Sunshine.
Now it's your turn, dude. Now it's your turn.
Eternal.
There's one movie left, James.
Your second pick was, your top 3, Eternal at number 3, Interstellar at number 2, and Toy Story 2.
Dude, I gave you all mine, man. Now it's yours.
All right, mine.
You have one left.
I was very excited when you mentioned Totoro, because the movie that number one on this list in particular is because of the impact it had on me earlier on. It's funny that we're both going to kind of child movies, but Hayao Miyazaki's. Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Check. Guess.
Really?
Yes. Yep. Go ahead. Guess.
I'm gonna guess A Bug's Life. I don't know.
Bug's Life, very impactful, but no.
Okay.
This movie was introduced to me by my mom. Right around 2003, 2002. I gotta set it up somehow, right? So this movie, how I first saw it was mom would go to the markets in Thailand. You know, this is growing up in Thailand, kind of rural part of Thailand. This is before we moved into the city, before we moved to a better part of the city, right? This is kind of ghetto, not ghetto, but grassroots kind of outskirts of city Bangkok. And there are these markets around the city, or, you know, just markets, plazas, outdoor markets. And, you know, they sell everything from food to illegal copies of movies that are still in theaters that you can maybe see if you pay $1 or $2. So, of course, mom being mom and not wanting to spend $10 on a movie, you know, 300 baht, you know, she just spend 100 baht and get 3 movies. She bought home X amount of movies, and then she put in Spirited Away by Hayao Miyazaki.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay. Now, bear in mind, the copy of the movie was already fake. It was like, it was bad. It was a bad copy to begin with, kind of low quality. And it was only available in Japanese with English subtitles. And the subtitles themselves weren't even that great. It was kind of like, all right? I put the movie in, and my mom's like, oh, James, I heard this movie was good. And 3rd grade James or 2nd grade James must have been like, okay, mommy. And so I just watched it. I tell you, I'm kind of like you. I was kind of like you with Interstellar. I understood virtually nothing about it the first time I saw it. But that movie, Spirited Away, was so impactful on me. Like, just the way the story unfolded, the way I heard the characters talking to each other, and me trying to keep up reading subtitles. As a kid, reading subtitles is brutal. Okay, as a kid, it's like you catch glimpses of what the story is. And there was no way for me to understand what it was at the time. But it's the one movie wherein even if it was in a different language, I didn't care. I kept going back to see it over and over and over and again until my mom finally realized, and she was like, screw it, I'll just get the real DVD for him. Boom. English dub. Watch it. I had the most euphoric watching experience watching this movie, I think, shortly thereafter. Spirited Away is
Spirited Away.
Yeah, Spirited Away. You've seen it, right?
No, I haven't seen it, but yeah, keep going.
Oh, it's the same makers. It's Studio Ghibli. Studio Ghibli. It's the same makers of Totoro. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's by far, no, a lot of people go back and forth over this, like, oh, there's a castle in the sky, freaking Howl's Moving Castle, Princess Mononoke. But to me, Spirited Away is the best. It's I really want you to go see it because it's this coming of age tale.
James, it's available on fucking on freaking HBO. I got HBO. I'll watch that thing.
Okay. But Spirited Away, or without giving too much away now, you know, it's this coming of age tale. You know, you talked about themes, right? So Eternal Sunshine for you was like relationship themes. Spirited Away is something, the visceral thing of a child having to move different locations. Okay. Because she's moving out supposedly from the inner city to the outer city in Japan, and wherever they are in Tokyo or whatnot. They God, the music is so good too. But the reason the movie I think captured me got to me so bad, so deeply, was because it's such a there aren't too many ways that you can say it's so good without ruining it. But the fact that it's so wildly imaginative and it tells a very simple tale of a kid growing up, you know, a kid taking that next step to grow up, to mature, to take on challenges or whatnot, I think was important for me to see as a kid. because it still sticks to me now. Yeah, things will get hairy, things will get weird, and this is a movie that, although fictionalizes and exaggerates a bunch of different adult themes that never really go away. Things, adult themes like depression, lack of identity, misery, or sexual frustration. Yeah, it's in there too, by the way.
Okay. Okay.
Lust, gluttony, all myriad of different themes, adult themes, packed into one story about a kid who's supposed to be moving houses, right? But then winds up lost. The family gets lost, and they wander down this kind of abandoned theme part where this girl is as snooty as can be. She's very kind of timid. She, is a normal preteen girl. And that's why it got to me too. I think I was around the same age as the girl watching the movie. And so naturally I had a big crush on her as a kid. And then just watching this character change from this whiny kind of character. And I'm not gonna ruin it for you, but in many respects, it's the movie that's most responsible, I think, for me watching and appreciating different movies and themes within movies. Because not only do I think it's the best like kids movie ever made, I think it's even better than Toy Story 2. But it's like not only do I think it's better than Toy Story 2, but the makers of Toy Story 2 think it's better than Toy Story 2. They like the respect that they have for this guy, for freaking Hayao Miyazaki. Just like the fact that they liked it so much, they took it upon themselves to dub it. Like Disney said, yeah, we'll take it. And back then, for Disney to take on anything, it wasn't willy-nilly. It wasn't just for cash. Well, maybe it was, right? But you have to imagine in the early 2000s, like taking foreign films and dubbing it for American audiences, it wasn't known. Anime culture, I think, was still growing at the time. And so, this Japanese film, foreign film, it's the only animation movie, I think, to win best foreign film, I think, in the Oscars, when the Oscars counted for something before they had this woke agenda and whatever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the whole, Eric, we're like an hour and 50 minutes in. That's the whole reason I wanted to talk to you about movies, because the Oscars freaking, I don't know if you read the news recently, but they came out with the fact that, your movies, in order to make the Oscars, have to have this like checklist of
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, Spirited Away. If it's on HBO right now, Eric, please.
Spirited Away.
Yeah.
I want to watch it, dude. Yeah, it's on HBO.
Yeah.
Watch it.
And tell me what you think, honestly, because I'm biased in that I saw it as a kid. It impacted me, and then I have watched it multiple times since. And Spirited Away. It's gosh, kind of like Toy Story 2. It's one of those movies that takes you on such a journey that by the end, like, you can't help but feel like,
yeah,
that was good. Like, I needed that for my soul. Like Toy Story 2, Toy Story 1, you needed that for your soul. It both enriched you and informed you. That's what a good movie does in weird ways, right?
Yeah.
So Interstellar, enriched and informed. Eternal Sunshine, enriched and informed. Blade Runner, definitely enriched and informed. Same way.
Yeah.
It's not in the caliber of a movie like freaking Love Actually that it'll just you put on.
Oh, by the way, Love Actually was right there before I chose it. Like I could have chose it, but it didn't. It was right there, dude.
Yeah.
But guess what? The holidays are coming up, Poppy, and I'm watching Love Actually.
I'm watching that. I'm making my friends watch that too, just so they know. It's a pretty fun movie to watch on the holidays.
It's a great movie. It's a great movie. Dude, Love Actually is the best like movie as far as like star power.
Oh,
star power in the movie.
Yeah. So much going on. There's so much.
But it was a good movie, but yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so Spirited Away is my number one, honestly, just because.
Okay.
I know it's the movie that kind of started it all for me as a kid. I could say Toy Story, I could say Bug's Life, I could say Tarzan maybe, but Spirited Away, objectively now, I can watch it and say, yeah, that might be the best movie I've ever seen. Ever.
Perfect. All
right. So, Eternal, Dark Knight, Interstellar, Blade Runner, and Spirited Away. Those are our top 6 for today.
There's more.
Huh?
Toy Story 2.
And Toy
There's
Story
Toy
2.
Story
Yeah,
2.
Toy Story 2 and then Spirited Away.
Yes.
Top 6 in no particular order. You could honestly watch these movies whenever you want. Eric, have you seen Tenet yet or no?
No, I haven't seen it yet. No,
Yeah, I really want to see it this Sunday.
I've only seen Mulan.
I've heard. Oh, was it good?
We can
Did you
get
like
into it,
Did you like it?
but we probably shouldn't get into it. Mulan.
Yeah.
I love Mulan, but
No.
Right.
The remake. Was it good?
the remake, I loved it. It was amazing. It was great.
That's news to me. I might watch it when it's not $30.
Just dude, I'll give you my Disney Plus information, but that movie was amazing. If you yeah, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, but how can you not have Will Smith? Anyway, freaking yeah, those are. Truth be told, I think I might edit it to just be about movies. I think the UFC part is like kind of plays second fiddle to how
It's
deep
not bad.
this thing went. Yeah, this has been great.
It's up to you.
Okay, well, one more lightning round. Lightning round.
Lightning round.
Yeah. What's the funniest movie you've ever seen?
The funniest?
Yeah.
I won't say the funniest, but my most I'll turn funniest to most guilty pleasure movie. Okay, is Mortal Kombat.
There you go. Guilty pleasure. Oh my god.
Guilty pleasure. Mortal Kombat. I love that movie. The first one, obviously, the first Mortal Kombat.
First Mortal Kombat is
How about
your
you,
guilty pleasure. Me?
Also, there's a movie called
I
The
have so
13th
many.
Warrior with Antonio Banderas.
I have so
I have
many
two.
guilty
That's it.
pleasures.
What do
I
you
have
got?
so many guilty pleasures. A lot of them anime. A lot of them animation. But yeah, I gotta go with Madagascar, man. That movie's hilarious, as well as Over the Hedge.
Okay.
Madagascar is funny. Yeah, guilty pleasures. That might be another segment right there. That might be a seed for a future segment. Yeah.
It could be, yeah. There's so many movies.
Yeah, all right. Well, this has been a hodgepodge, interesting podcast, if you will, if you've been listening up until this point. We really appreciate it. This podcast can be found on all streaming platforms, such as Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube when I upload it onto YouTube. Well, Eric, thanks for thanks for offering all that you do, buddy. Episode 20 is a wrap.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I made it.
All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Hopefully, probably reacting to whatever's happening this weekend. Fight Island 2.0. All right, peace out, guys.
Peace out.